congratulations to those who will be MA board members. As many of you may know, the Management Association has been working to unionize our members. And so last week we came to an agreement with the college to go ahead and move forward. I think 49 management positions to go ahead and be unionized with SEIU Local 741. So we're going to be seeing that on the next board agenda. And thank you to all the MA board members. We put a lot of work into that. And then last, this will be my last academic Senate board meeting at Pasadena City College. So I'm leaving for another opportunity. So I just wanted to thank the Academic Senate for welcoming me into your space for the last couple of years, and it's been a fun ride. So thank you.
You got ahead of me, Matt. We wanted to thank you for your partnership with the Academic Senate. We've been through some things together, and it's been very meaningful. But also to be able to have partners in the other constituency group has been powerful for me. So thank you so much. And on behalf of the faculty, thank you for your work. Okay, now we'll move on to our Senate officers report. Starting with me, this is my last meeting, and although I am thrilled for the next phase in what I do at PCC. I did want to thank you all for making space for me and for taking up for me at certain times and for being allies and advocates for faculty, but also for this, the executives on this committee, the executive committee. It is arduous and painful at times, but the work that we come up with or that we are able to do on behalf of faculty is more than meaningful. It's transformative for students. And that is something that we've never lost sight of, is that we do what we do. Yes, we advocate for faculty. Yes, we are the voice of the faculty, but we are also here for students. We are a student-centered body, and I hope that is never lost. I'm confident in the leadership coming after us, that they will continue good work for students and for faculty. But I also wanted to run down just a few things that we've done since we've worked together. We've established a social justice committee that is thriving, that is doing good work on behalf of faculty and students. We've created an anti-racist policy, AP 3400, and that was unanimously passed in the Senate, but also other constituency groups weighed in, and it's something, again, that's good for our campus and good for our students. We brought liberation to PCC. We did that. We as a board did that, and we started the conversation in this body, but also we moved on to every space that we occupy. We talked about liberation where it has become a part of the campus conversation, and it's part of different offices, different SMOs. It's impacting the curriculum. I'm getting ahead of myself. We developed a liberation framework together. We developed and created and implemented the Liberation Through Education campaign. That's something that we all did. We revised and supported policies for the campus through the anti-racist and equity lens. And it is, again, showing and very meaningful to students, and I'm very much overwhelmed. We are working with our professional development folks to support faculty with strategies for addressing racism and all forms of discrimination, as well as how to implement liberation in their classrooms, and how to realize our student-facing goals that we've created for students. We've collaborated with our outcomes committee to develop liberatory ISLOs that hopefully will be passed today. And we've This is the latest. Excuse me, sir, you're gonna need to sit right here. Well, not here, thank you. The latest that I haven't been able to report out to this body, but I'm so pleased to be able to do, is that we were able to secure $150,000 from IEDJ to continue our work of liberation, which is a really outstanding thing. Thank you. And that's just a few of the things that we've done since we've worked together, since you've allowed me to be your president. It's been a pleasure. I'll say more at the end, but I want to leave space and room for my team members. Okay. Yes, that's it for my report. And now we have our vice president's report.
Before I begin, I personally want to thank everyone for your support as well. This has not been easy. We have done some great work. Y'all are some great people. We're great people. And we just really appreciate the collaboration that's happened in this space. Through the ups and downs with all the barriers, we actually got work done. And so some of that work I wanted to highlight is the fact that Dr. Lopez stole a little bit of my thunder, but I'll just say that together we passed 13 APs, most notably our anti-racism policy. That's a lot. 8 BPs, 3 resolutions, most notably the carbon-free campus resolution, as well as our goals for liberation through education that we executed every single one. So give yourselves a hand on that. Of course, without your help, we wouldn't be able to do these things. We hosted our first inaugural Liberation Week, which a lot of you attended, and we appreciate you for that. In which we highlighted our highly informative ed talks that will be going up on the screens beginning in the summer. We also were blessed to have such collaborations as working with VP Jones, Strategic Communication Marketing, aka SCAM, Office of Instruction, and Dr. Gomez to, like Dr. Lopez said, put all of the photos in all the classrooms so that students could have affirming liberation messages throughout the day. We also created an official newsletter highlighting events and giving shout outs to amazing faculty. And we also were able to, like Dr. Lopez said, create our social justice committee, which will continue. And we're just grateful. And it's been our pleasure to serve alongside you to create a legacy of liberation on campus. There's so much more to come, and we just thank you all for being, again, partners in this work. And that's it.
What did you do? Okay. Next, we have our secretary's report.
Hello, nice to see everybody. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is my last meeting after 9 consecutive years sitting on the executive board for the Academic Senate. It's been a privilege and an honor to work with so many faculty and to serve under 4 presidents. I initially recruited a slate to run for the executive committee. I was running for vice president at that time in 2015. After the previous sitting Senate exec had led a vote in Senate not to sign the college's accreditation plan, our accreditation self-study, our student equity plan, or our SSSP student matriculation plan. These decisions put millions of dollars in state funding, as well as students' access to federal financial aid, in jeopardy. Some of you were there at those times and you remember them. After winning by a very narrow margin, the president Valerie Foster won by 4 votes. We partnered with the Vice President of Student Services at the time, Dr. Cynthia Olivo, who's now President of Fullerton College and doing amazing work there, to bring equity college-wide through professional development from USC's Center for Urban Education, and by also launching 6 equity pathways that were led by the Senate, including equity in hiring and equity in instruction. We also planned flex days for 3 consecutive years that introduced concepts of equity to the campus. We advocated for, and I served as the inaugural and continuing faculty chair of the Student Success Committee, which oversees the creation of the Student Equity Plan. We advocated with the administration for funding and worked with the Bylaws Committee to increase the number of adjunct senators from 1 to 5. We advocated with the administration to establish the position of adjunct faculty coordinator, a role which I served in from 2020 to 2022, and which was critical in supporting adjunct faculty during the transition to remote instruction. As Student Success Chair, along with my committee members, we led the creation of equity-minded guiding questions for policy review and the establishment of a working group of the Student Success Committee to review all student-facing policies through an equity lens. 2 highlights of this work are removing the language of probation and changing it to academic warning, and removing a punitive tardy policy that had been long-standing on the campus. I have the privilege to partner with Walter Butler, former librarian, who is now at Santa Monica College, to establish a subcommittee of the Student Success Committee to oversee the college's OER ZTC grant, which has led us to save students millions of dollars. And finally, I have partnered with the current Senate exec and all of you amazing senators over the last 3 years to launch liberatory education across our campus, and I know our incoming Senate exec are going to do an amazing job carrying that work forward. So thank you all for all the support over these years.
And our treasurer's report. And I apologize for the distance, obviously, this is the setup for several graduations, and they didn't want us to disturb it, so I apologize for that. Sorry, you gotta walk so hard.
Okay, so as you can see, we have an increase of 100, I can't even see it. Thank you. From donations. That's what that is. I would also like to take this opportunity to more properly address the question directed to me last meeting regarding my wearing of the keffiyeh, equating it to anti-Semitism. I must use this as a critical moment to explain why I wear this scarf, to express solidarity with the Palestinian people who are experiencing genocide in the hands of the Zionist Israeli regime. There are many hundreds of thousands protesting for a ceasefire, including a great proportion of Jewish people who recognize that never again is happening now. Let me be clear. Support for Palestine is in no way anti-Semitic. Anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. It is hateful and misinformed propaganda to claim it is so, and in fact endangers our Jewish population. It is important to address this so that we can all better serve our diverse student population. As your president-elect, I am eager to continue the work of social justice and anti-racism initiated by the outgoing Senate leadership and affirmed in our college's mission, vision, and value statement. Our liberation through education goals will be at the forefront of our agenda, and we will continue to support the Social Justice Committee in their efforts to highlight and celebrate the diversity of our campus and community. I speak for my team when I say we are ready and eager to serve our faculty and students. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to our information items. First, we have a student services update, and instead of Dr. Altundi, we'll be having Dean Armando Duran. If you have a full presentation, you can come to the podium. If you have some sort of just a comment, please go to the mic in the back. Thank you, Dean Duran.
Broken. Candace? Check it out my next picture. Good afternoon, everyone. A couple of reminders. Summer registration has begun. Classes are filling up, which is wonderful. So if you have students, please encourage them to register for their summer classes. I know they're in the middle of their finals, but classes are filling up. So please encourage folks to register for summer. Fall schedule is also live. Again, remind our students to register. And more than anything else, make sure they register on the registration date and time. If they need assistance, please encourage them to seek counseling in the L building. Commencement is June 14th at 7 p.m. We hope to see you all there to celebrate our students' accomplishments. Visit the commencement website for information on all the graduations and celebrations. Last but not least, before I go, I want to thank all the Academic Senate members for all your hard work, but I also want to thank the Executive Board for their service and look forward to working with the future Senate Board members. Thank you.
Okay. Next information item is from our very own VP of Instruction, Dr. Laura Ramirez.
Hi, everyone. So I don't have a presentation, sorry to make you turn, but so first of all, I just want to say thank you. It's been a wonderful, amazing academic year. Our enrollment at the end of the year, we're going to be over 15% from last year, which is incredible. We're not quite out of the woods. We're still working to get to our pre-pandemic numbers, but we're definitely moving in the right direction. Summer, as Dean Gudan said, we are really strong. Enrollment looks really good. We are moving towards a more efficient model. No longer are we hold harmless. We have to start looking at making sure that our classes are full, that they're robust. Doesn't mean we're going to cancel everything, just we are looking at things a little bit more critically. It's been a pleasure to participate in some of our celebrations, our cultural celebrations, recognizing our students. It's great to see them, how happy they are to be able to move on, get recognized for their hard work. I look forward to seeing you all at graduation and have a great summer.
You too.
The Senate is so generous with their thoughts today. Okay, next we have distance education update by our very own Lauren Baker, Ken Shadiak, and Chris Rozier. I don't know if I said that.
Hello, everyone. So I wanted to start by sharing some exciting updates regarding the peer on. Thank you. For short, this moved. There we go. Regarding the peer online course review, also known as the POKER program, if you've heard of it. Here at PCC, we did secure, Lauren, myself, and Eloy secured a community excellence grant to continue phase 2 of the POKER program. And so we will be able to offer more generous stipends for faculty to take their online classes through the full POKER review. So the reviewers, the people who conduct the reviews, will now be able to get a $1,000 stipend to do that important work. And the faculty who are the instructors who are taking their course through will be able to get $2,000. So you'll have a great incentive now to go through the process to take your course through and get it badged in the Pure Online Course Review here at PCC. So we're really excited about that. And another exciting update is we have some more support for faculty in terms of distance education. So Chris is new to the DE team, and he is an instructional designer with an emphasis on accessibility. So something that is obviously important for all of us, no matter if we're teaching on ground or online. So he's going to be able to support faculty with accessibility and a lot of distance ed aspects of their course. So I want to introduce Chris.
Hello, everyone. We are very much so in process, so I will just start with that. We are evaluating kind of what's possible and dreaming and thinking bigger, but the hope is to really help faculty with some boots on the ground to help course design through the lens of accessibility and usability. Really excited. I'm really hopeful. I've worked at previous institutions before. I used to be a K-12 educator. Very passionate about the intersection between technology and education, so excited to work with the faculty.
So we are so glad to have Chris here. We've been trying to get more support for you all for distance ed, and so we're really thrilled he's here. And so definitely look out for our messaging regarding his services, and also just the services from PCC Online and the department. I also did just want to mention for poker, we do have a summer cohort that we are starting with our new sort of poker setup that's already in process. But if you are really interested in thinking about putting your course through in the fall, please do reach out to us or email it's just poker.
Yeah, POCR@pasadena.edu.
I don't even know my own email address, but there you go. So you can just send that to that address or to one of us, Kimberly or I, and we're happy to help get you started in that process. We do have a new model that follows a set timeline, so we really want to make sure courses are in great sort of reviewing shape prior to starting. So there may be a little bit of work you have to do on your course to get it ready, and we can walk you through all of that. The last time I was before you, I also spoke to you about recertification. So I had a feeling you guys might want updates on that. So I do have an update from Dean Alvarado that I wanted to make you all aware of. So folks that were certified prior to 2016 will be reached out to over the summer. Those folks will need to complete 4 hours of DE-related PD before June 30th, 2025. So the idea being that recert would sort of roll out with the people who have the longest amount of time since certification. For that, the only way to get compensated for those 4 hours is if you do the poker process, which again, we do have nice new stipends, so please keep those in mind. Otherwise, it would just be part of your flex credit. We're also launching a website that will have information and an FAQ related to the process. The deans have a list of when faculty were certified, and there is a website that will list dates and will have more information about the process. So conveying that, if you have any questions or concerns, I'm sure Dean Alvarado can help with that, and the DE department is working on it.
Thank you. Before you leave, I forgot to ask other people, the other presenters, are there questions for this group? Yes, Mariah.
What was the year if you were certified for what year?
So the information I was given is that if you were certified prior to 2016. So those, if you got certified during the pandemic, this is not you. It's folks prior.
Okay, and Danielle?
So can you repeat again which person gets 1,000 and which gets the 2,000 for being a reviewer or a submitter of your course?
Great. So yes, we have a core of people who've been trained to be poker reviewers, and we are offering them a $1,000 stipend. So that's for 20 hours of work. We will also have an opportunity to maybe get some reviewers trained. So if that's also of interest to you, please feel free to reach out to us. There's a stipend to go through the training course, and then you would get $1,000 per course that you review. And then faculty, so instructors who submit their course to be reviewed, we're anticipating approximately 40 hours of work to ensure your course is aligned with the CDC OEI rubric as discussed previously. And so that's a $2,000 stipend.
Okay, before we move on for the questions, I saw some more questions. We need to extend this item for a motion to extend. Jeff, I saw you 5 minutes. Catherine, are you a second? Catherine is a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. The abstentions, 5 more minutes, and I saw Catherine's hand raised.
Thank you. Could you remind me again if the poker review is optional, voluntary, or is it?
Voluntary.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it is a voluntary, everything about it is voluntary, just meant to improve distance education. But of course, we hope that everybody eventually tries to submit a course who teaches online, but it's voluntary.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And shout out to Kimberly Shadiak for being an above and beyond winner. Okay. And before we move on to item F4, I'm told that we have 2 students who wanted to speak to this agenda item.
Dr. Lopez, we also have a faculty member who wants to speak.
Okay. For this item. Okay, I'll need their name. The first name on my list is Ava Gonzalez. Please use the mic there. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eva Gonzalez. I am a student here, and I will be serving as the next president of the Environmental Sustainability Club. I am speaking to you today to remind you all of the importance of the resolution to decarbonize by 2030. The goals outlined by this resolution are not only crucial to the sustainability of our planet, but they are supported by many groups here on campus. ASPCC, Classified Senate, the Board of Trustees, the Facility Committee, and the Academic Senate. The urgency now lies with the lack of language regarding this resolution in the Facilities Master Plan. Without specific mentioning of the resolution, we fear that there is little for the community or we as students to hold on to for accountability in upholding the resolution. I love this school, I appreciate your work, and I ask that specific language be included in the Facilities Master Plan. Thank you for the opportunity and the space to speak here today.
Thank you. Next, we have Jacqueline Albert. Your 3 minutes will start as soon as you can.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline. I'm a student at PCC. I actually requested to be released early from my job to come down and to bring attention on decarbonizing the campus and fleet service by 2030. Our college has committed to achieving 100% decarbonized campuses and vehicle fleet by 2030. Our institution can position itself as a leader. And from what I've learned from my class by our beloved faculty staff member, Professor Alexandra Garcia, she has taught me that clearly the world is moving at a fast rate. Our population is growing, infrastructure will continue to expand. And so I asked, how will we reduce CO2 emissions, in which will never stop increasing? It was not mentioned on the project list, is what I want to speak about. We are on the turning point historic time where we need to start sustainable and renewable energy practices. We need to pick our future. And so all I'm asking is for momentum from the board and for it to be added onto the master plan and to include decarbonizing the campus. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Melissa Michelson.
Hi, everybody. My name is Professor Melissa Michelson, and I honestly didn't have much to say. I just wanted to back up in solidarity with what the students have just said about decarbonizing the campus. Demolishing buildings is one of the worst things that could happen for the environment. So I just wanted to throw that out there, as well as I sent an email earlier today to the campus and colleagues, and when you have a chance, please read that, but it's related to the master plan and the lack of, the perceived lack of shared governance. That is unfortunate. It would be great to have data that supports presentations, and what I've seen throughout is there just isn't any yet. People are waiting for it, but it just doesn't really materialize. So I hope that you have enough information to make informed decisions. Thank you.
Okay, and now we'll hear from Vice President Candace Jones on our facilities.
Thank you all for having me today. I wanted to give an update to you all related to where we're at in the process and how we're continuing to advocate and get additional information and input from the campus community. So what we'll do today is just kind of walk through some of the information that we've taken from the community, some options that we're going to put through, some next steps, and then have an opportunity to answer some questions. I will say that this input piece from the campus community I want to give a shout out or a call to action if you haven't had an opportunity to fill out the sustainability survey. So as a part of the process to collect the data and then to share that out at both our college council, our board subcommittees, and our eventual June board of trustees meeting, it's really important that we gather a lot of feedback and input from the campus community. So the sustainability survey, which launched last Tuesday, since we were off last Monday, went out. And so we're collecting data. We'll send out some reminders for you all to make sure that you give us input there, as well as the input that we'll talk through today related to various options. All right, so here's what we've done, or here's where we've been in these last few weeks. So there's been significant outreach to collect input, including sort of these areas, these bodies that we've already touched base with, and also some additional pieces. So we've had an opportunity to collect some input from our executive team, academic senate, and more questions and asks for you all. We're scheduling a neighbors forum. So PCC is surrounded by a community of residents who also have some input related to things that happen on campus, particularly construction related projects. And so we make sure that we have an opportunity to collect their feedback. Classified Senate, our college facility subcommittee meeting, which you all have representation on, that met last week. And the week before, actually 2 weeks in a row. Our Management Association, College Council, and our Board of Trustees. And what we wanted to start with today is just talking about another input opportunity from you all to go back out to your constituent groups to gather some additional input from your constituents. So you don't have to do it yourself. So of course, we're hopeful that you'll take the information today and be able to respond to some basic questions of information that we deliver today. But there's a survey at the end. This item was attached to your agendas, so you can see the survey link there. We'll also make sure that we get it out to academic senate so you all have it really ready, so that then you can share it out to your constituents as we're gathering additional input. And the way that we sort of frame this collection point is that as we met in the campus forums that we hosted, there were 2 large general campus forums as well as one specifically related to campus safety. We also then hosted some individual sort of touch points with different areas, whether that be with our library, whether that be with our kinesiology athletics area. We actually held a forum over at Foothill as well to, again, continue to gather lots of different information from various constituents to then inform some of the options that we're going to talk about today that are ahead for you then to go out and gather some input from your constituents. So we're working on sort of a list of what we call core projects. These are the projects that we've already either dedicated time and energy to and already in flight. Those sort of form the core project list. And then we have 2 additional project lists that are based on some campus input as well as some sort of infrastructure cost sequencing pieces that we think may help to address a variety of different concerns on campus. So we have those today. So the goal then is to collect input as we think through the core projects. Which option list project are we adding to that in order to really think through the expenditure of the Measure PCC funds? Now, our facility strategic plan, the current bond initiative, even back in 2020 when this plan was conceived or at least approved by our Board of Trustees, the amount of funds necessary to support that project list is like over $1 billion, right? And so our goal today then is to really receive input from the campus community about, well, what could be our priorities for this initial bond issuance, with an intention that the institution is going to need to go forward with additional bond program or bond campaigns at a future election date. Projects, all of the projects that are listed in not only the approved 2020 facility strategic plan are absolutely vital and important to the campus community. If not, they wouldn't have made the document, right? There's a lot of work. You all exist in spaces where there's a lot of work and need across the campus. Our intention, though, is not to, we have to sort of say, where are we going to start first? It's not to say that these other things are not going to happen, but we do need to sort of pick some of the projects that need to happen first so we can get started, start realizing the vision of the facility strategic plan. So the projects are grouped based on sort of infrastructure considerations, some things that tie like electrical grids and things that tie these projects together. Those costs certainly is an important component related to how those pieces are being grouped together. And then, and so we're not intending to sort of break them apart, because you break one and you potentially then exceed Measure PCC funding pieces. So there's been a lot of activity and work to kind of, again, group them based on what makes sense to the project grouping. So let's talk a little bit about those. All right, so we have a bunch of text up here and then some visuals that will show you that'll make it a little bit easier, but I just want to give a really quick option A, option B overviews and the reasons and the rationale between these groupings. So option A has a student services building, movement-based sort of thought process around, if you recall it, you may not, and it's okay, but we walked you through all the utilization of various spaces on campus. So some classrooms, sort of lecture-based classrooms, are underutilized. Our lab spaces on campus are very utilized on campus. The other spaces on campus that are very utilized are what we call our other spaces. Spaces that largely are dedicated to movement-based courses. Those spaces are utilized because there's not a lot of them. And so we need to be thoughtful about how to think through those. So the intention of option A is to sort of address those pieces. New student services building, a movement-based sort of kinesiology, performing arts, and multi-purpose use. So we also have this multi-purpose use on campus that sort of exceeds our existing facilities. And the intentionality around us really trying to really think through portions of campus that are underutilized and that we can actually get some gain in. So as we're thinking through, well, look, this is a pretty tight, we have a fixed, acreage on campus. Where can we also get some of our bang for our buck? So the annex footprint is one of those areas that has temporary spaces or temporary structures in that area that may be a really great opportunity to reutilize that space and then place a building that has this multi-purpose movement-based usage there. So that's one of the pieces there, and a host of smaller projects that are dedicated to our library. We'll talk a little bit about this in more specificity when I get to the maps to walk through those. Our Center for the Arts building, our gym, our general GM building, and then the Foothill campus as a whole. So that's option A. And then option B actually provides a newly constructed academic building in the footprint of the W building dedicated to a host of different uses. So CTE, we know that CTE is growing and we don't have the physical space on this campus to really serve that need. So there's a lot of thought process about how we have dedicated spaces to do that, as well as movement-based and also general instruction classes. There's always this need, we don't have enough class space, we don't have enough lecture space. So that gives us a footprint to sort of dream big on that one. In addition, there is some remediation and modernization work to be performed on the E building, which has been on the east side of campus that we could dedicate it to. If you don't realize or didn't know, the Sarafian building will open, but the Sarafian building is a like-for-like project replacement. So all of the growth in health sciences or natural sciences is not going to be accommodated in the Sarafian building. So there's a good portion of those programs that are going to be left behind in both the Science Village as well as then Foothill campus.
Okay, I need a motion to extend. I saw Tracy first.
Motion to extend.
By how long?
5 minutes.
By 5 minutes? Okay, and if I
10,
second.
sorry, you're right. You can 10, please.
10 minutes. And I saw a second by Danielle. Okay. If there are no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? See none. Any other additions?
Thank you. And then the last piece on the overview of option B will be some additional greater remodels in our LL building. And I'll talk a little bit about how that's going to be made possible through the core projects plus the different options. All right, so now this is sort of the visual representation of these pieces. So we were thrown a really good, I would say whammy, back in the day it was a whammy, but it's not. It's like a really good project in that was never sort of articulated. It's articulated as a high level in the facility strategic plan, but like now it actually happened. So we lost our Rosemead location, right? We've now purchased 5 tracts of property in Rosemead in order for us to build there. That is a significant financial investment that not only the college community has said that is really, really important for us to exist in that community, but also our board of trustees. And so that's never been a part of sort of the bond sort of language in the past, and yet it is something that now we have to take a step back and reimagine then what those initial priority projects are. So that's why the Rosemead re-envisioning satellite campus is on that core project list. We have made a financial investment there, and we're wanting to, as quickly as possible, get back into serving that particular community. A health and sciences building, so I just mentioned around the Sarafian building, because it's a like for like, it doesn't incorporate all of the growth that has happened over the years when that building has closed. And so there are also some compliance issues that we are needing to manage. And so having an additional footprint for health and our natural sciences areas to sort of grow into, to then be able to actually leave behind Science Village and then actually bring more programming from Foothill to the Colorado campus is really, really important. Galloway Plaza Cafe, that is a new cafe that's intended to be on the east side of campus to serve both hot and cold food. So we only currently have hot food in our piazza area on this west side of campus, and so there's an intention to also be an outlet for the library. There's a lot of activity that's happening in the library, and some of it could spill into this cafe area where students are able to, have some community space, be able to kind of sit outside, collaborate together, where it may not, some of that activity can't happen in the library itself, but can happen in the plaza. We have a really important sort of first step in terms of our sustainability projects in terms of bringing photovoltaic PV. So not only the college being able to generate its own energy and sort of take off. We're doing some calculations on all of our energy bills and our utility bills right now to sort of figure out how much energy we can actually generate and then store and then reuse on the campus. So that becomes a really important first step of the project. I will say that all new buildings that are envisioned will always meet the green standards in our carbon neutral free pledge of 2030. Mirror pools, Sexton, those are really big public facing pieces for the institution, and those projects are actually starting and are going to be happening in the next few weeks. Boiler house modernization and Lancer Pass modernization, again, there are significant areas of this campus that are underutilized that if we really thought through some ways to reimagine what is happening in those footprints, that we can then release some of the instructional space back to instruction. And so an example of that would be modernizing the boiler house, which is a building that's unused today over by the facilities building, change that into some administrative spaces in order to release all of the administrative use in the library from our information technology area and release that instructional space back to both the library and instruction. Lancer's Pass, of course, our intention is to assist and help in the growing of the culinary program, which is currently using shared space in Piazza with our Primo Nosh vendor. The aquatic center renovation, that's actually tied together. So W building and aquatic center are joined at the hip. So that project can't happen. It's a demolition and a renovation of the full footprint. And so that's why those two projects are in the core project campus. And they help to inform some of the other options that we'll walk through. So that's core. Then you have, hey, we have some additional utilization of funds that we want to attract or assign to other projects. So we talked about as an overview, student services, an additional smaller building, which is a 70,000 square foot building. If you know that building today, it's really a 1-story building. The vision is for it to be a 3-story building to consolidate all the services around campus. A permanent building in the footprint of Annex. Remember, we have made the commitment that we're getting rid of all portables on campus, both on Colorado campus as well as our Foothill campus, which will be replaced with a building again for multi-purpose and movement-based courses. That also, the strategic piece about that is it also ties into where that career community is for arts, is actually on that side of campus and not where it currently is. LL building, and then the blue are all those renovations, smaller renovation projects that we talked about on campus. And then B being that new academic building, 100,000 square foot building. Currently that building is 40,000 square foot. And so the growth of the instructional programming, again, around CTE and other sort of uses on campus has determined that that building should be about that size, as well as in the E building and LL, or the library renovation. So let's look at some maps to kind of give you some visuals of these pieces. All right, so core projects you see here. Let me see if I can kind of point to them. That's my cursor, but that's okay. So if we start from, we'll go from west to east. The first sustainability projects in lot 1s and 3 in terms of our ability to generate our own energy on campus, as well as then extending out EV charging stations will be also improved on campus. The renovation of the pool, that gives us both a civic component as well as an instructional component. This building here, that's the building, that's the boiler house that's currently not used, that we want to do an adaptive reuse project for sort of reimagining and moving out some of the administrative offices that are taking up instructional space into that space on campus. Sexton, mirror pools, this is the Galloway Plaza piece, the new Health and Sciences building would be here. So that formulates the core pieces. And then of course the new Rosemead campus. So again, that is the new piece that has been added to the facility strategic plan. Now I'm going to try to overlay on top of core plus what option A would be, and then core what would be option B, and talk about sort of the sequencing of these pieces at a high level. Because I think it's important as we're gathering input to inform what the recommendations will be for our Board of Trustees. The sequencing pieces may change based on which option gets played out, right? So there's like this domino effect. We first sort of need a direction. These are the projects that we want to go first. And then once we get those projects, then we'll sort of do the sequencing piece. But I'll talk about it at a high level. Rosemead, since that's a significant investment, the intention is to really start some of the design work related to the Rosemead campus very early on. The sequencing piece here on the east side of campus is to try to do some of the work related to, since we're on that side of campus doing a lot of the power grids and those pieces to support the Sarafian building, it makes logical sort of architectural sense for us to continue some of the work on that with both the new Health and Sciences building as well as Galloway Plaza Cafe. Student Services building, what then happens is as this, the W footprint is demolished, this becomes swing space for our Student Services area. Remember, there's a lot of movement. There are going to be a lot of moving pieces and parts related to construction on this campus. And some of that and the timing is going to be based on how much construction we can do at any given time, right? I mean, so we're taking that into consideration. Not this whole campus can't fully be on a construction zone because we have a lot of activity that needs to happen. But that's how sort of those two pieces actually tie together. And then again, the pool renovation, since that's a complete demolish of the pool decks and pieces, would be tied to W. And then we have some, again, the smaller based renovation projects through those pieces.
Extend our 5 minutes, is there a second?
Short of time, I think I'm gonna have any chance to ask questions.
Okay. Would you like to extend? Would you like to extend? Okay, is there a second? Okay. Okay, I see your hand up here, and if there are no objections, we can extend by, excuse me, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Okay. This is the final extension.
Thank you. Let me get through this last group really quickly and then we'll get to questions. So I appreciate you being patient. And then core plus option B would be all of those core projects again, with a larger renovation in our library, our e-building, remodel, modernization project would be the core pieces that would add to that sort of component there. What I would, again, would like to say is all of these projects need to be done. They're all really, really important to the campus community in a variety of different ways. And our intention is to try to, again, sort of think about, well, what should go first related to these pieces and how can we then strategically tie them together so that it makes it possible so that, again, the whole campus is not in a construction zone. Last piece, these are all the upcoming meetings that we're going through to just, again, gather more input with additional information that, like we've done the sustainability survey, as well as like the input that we're gonna be taking from the campus survey that will inform the recommendations that go to the Board of Trustees. We're gonna have all of that data. Our target is that June 13th meeting as we get into College Council and our Board Facility Subcommittee, and then making a formal recommendation to the Board of Trustees in June 18th.
Okay, are there any questions? Yes, 1, 2, 3, okay.
All right. Firstly, constituent concern. She wrote, Resolution 799 made it a goal for PCC to decarbonize all of its infrastructure by 2030. This facility's master plan update is the last update until 2029, meaning this document is the last opportunity to have a meaningful impact to achieve this goal. The facility's master plan as proposed does not include decarbonizing the entire campus, including replacing natural gas infrastructure with electric infrastructure anywhere, not even in the full build out. Why am I not seeing the goal or the resulting actions in this facility's master plan?
So if you read the resolution is a policy guideline. And so we are working really hard, but 100-year campus to do all of this, we're really hopeful to try to achieve that. And yet, if the technology isn't available, we will need to adjust. If those pieces aren't available, we will need to adjust. So our commitment, of course, is decarbonation. We want to set the standard. We want to be leaders in the standards. But if you read the resolution, it is a policy guideline.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Next we have Jeff Love.
For the parking lot 1 and 3, you said that was gonna be an energy generating
Correct.
area, so does that mean that they're gonna build like a garage with like solar panels on top, or what does that mean?
Trying to think, how many of you all are familiar with PCC Northwest? Okay, so photovoltaic is like all of the stalls have generating sort of PV panels above them, and so both there, lot 5 and lot 3 would have those and then stored a battery power. That's our first step in terms of being able to generate our own power.
Okay, next question will be for Chris.
Will students at the
Associated Students meeting?
Yeah, will they have the opportunity to fill out this form?
Yes. And the sustainability survey that's currently out there for folks.
Okay, Russ?
I just have a quick question. We were told in the department meeting that those of us in the E-building would be moving out of the E-building next winter commensurate with moving people into the Sarafian building, et cetera. I assume that if you're not going to go ahead with the Eaton building remodel, we will stay in the Eaton building.
Correct, and we'll have to do some deferred maintenance there. That's correct. I think what we've done is sort of pause everything so we could make these decisions and then communicate what then the impacts are on those pieces later. That's a good question, please.
Candace, from the many forums that you've held over, several weeks, getting input from all different parts of the campus, can you specifically cite how that has changed the formal master plan from what it was before the forums and now after the forums?
Yes, that's a good question. So two things. So what we heard from a lot of the forums were there's a lot of pieces. So let's start with the aquatic center. That was a big unknown in the previous facility strategic plan has that pool moving to the southeast corner of Bonnie and Colorado. So that has shifted based on the community impact input, based on the amount of work and priority that we need. So the funding needed to move the pool from one location to another is being reallocated to some of this project-based work. So before we hadn't talked about a lot of project work, whether it's at Foothill, whether it's the library, whether it's the Center for the Arts, right? We're trying to sort of think through how we can have a great impact and also address some of the pieces which are growing programs. So our new Health and Sciences building also wasn't articulated in those. So hearing that, hey, not everybody is going to be able to move from Science Village into the new Sarafian building. Hey, since we have some impact in terms of the size of our furniture and occupancy, we need to take a different sort of strategy related to that. So that helped to inform then a recommendation that the new Health and Sciences building be on that core project list. So those are a few. Is there anything else? So that's sort of how it's been shifting.
Is there another large one from before and after the forums? That's two, the pool and...
The pool, which then impacts, so the pool, remember, pool and W are together. They're not separate. I can't demolish one without taking care of the other. So those are joined at the hip. So if it stays, we have to, from an infrastructure standpoint, manage that project together. So that's a major one. We talked about the Health and Sciences building. We've had some issues, in W. The new GM sort of thinking through, there's a lot of unutilized space in there. We heard from that community that if we could do some work there. We met with the library, heard that there's some renovation opportunities there, that those are new pieces that have all been added to this work based on the campus input. As well as the Center for the Arts building, so there's some remodel pieces, as well as getting IT out of the LL building and into another administrative space so that then we can release some of the instructional space back to instruction as opposed to using it for administrative purposes. All of those things, none of these things were on the previous plan prior to campus feedback.
Okay, Dr. Walker? Yes, in creating the new L building, there's a lot of empowerment programs in that building. Are you taking any consideration or any input from those programs as far as like the setup or?
Yeah, so the building hasn't been programmed. So you guys get to think big on what that building and how that building feels and what services are offered in there. We're just expressing there's a new building, there's a new footprint there for you guys to sort of dream.
And with that, I have a lot of disabled people in my family, so is there gonna be some kind of overhaul of accessibility?
We have to do that campus-wide.
Okay. Right.
We have to intentionally do that campus-wide.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions? Yes.
Specifically, are there for modernization and remediation for the E-building in option B? And the extent of the seismic retrofitting as well?
So, okay, so I think your question, I didn't hear the first part, but I think you just asked me what are the extent of the remodels?
That's right, the details.
Okay, so a lot of that building will go through a complete sort of, one, it has to be vacated, so all of the labs, classrooms, electrical sort of footprint that is generating that building, all of that will be updated to current building code, like in California building code. So anytime we touch a building for a major modernization, it actually has to meet current standards, not the standards of the 1960s, or if it predates 1960, I don't remember off the top of my head when E-building. So it has to, we go through that building and make sure it meets all of the current code. And the voluntary seismic retrofits also bring it to today's code standards. And that will happen for multiple buildings on campus.
Okay, unfortunately, we've run out of time for this item. However, I would encourage all senators to please email VP Jones if you have additional questions or concerns. Is this about this topic as we are?
Just a question regarding the slides.
I think we already.
The slides are on your agenda?
Perfect.
They should be in Word docs.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, moving forward. Thank you, Vice President Jones. Okay. Now we will have Darlene Enda report out on workplace violence prevention.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? So I am actually here to speak to you all about a new mandate, SB 553, which goes into effect July 1 of 2024, that requires all organizations, public and private, to have a workplace violence prevention plan in place. And this workplace violence prevention plan actually falls within risk management under our IIPP, which is our illness injury prevention plan. And we have various segments of our IIPP, and so this is going to be another segment of that. And so the district has been working in collaboration with HR, with campus safety, also with risk management to develop a plan, workplace violence prevention plan, which addresses basically what constitutes workplace violence, how we can implement the plan, inform our employees of the plan, training for the plan, how you can report both anonymous, how it's investigated, how it's followed up, how the records are maintained. And so I'm really here to just inform you all of this plan. It should be in the agenda item. I'm also going to follow up with Dr. Lopez with the survey so that you guys can provide any feedback and comments on the plan. I want to make sure that everybody understands the plan, understands the process of the plan. And again, unfortunately, the plan is written somewhat broad intentionally because it's actually required by Cal OSHA. However, they will not be releasing their standards till 2026. So we kind of have to do it before they do it. And so there's a possibility we might have to make some amendments. But please read the plan, provide feedback to me, comments, so that we can get this, meet the deadline of July 1 and get it on our website so that you all know how to respond if you do experience workplace violence. Okay?
Okay, do we have any questions for Darlene? Yes, sir.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
The workplace violence, I haven't read it yet, but does it include like verbal abuse as well as physical abuse?
Yes, it addresses it. So there's literally 4 components of what constitutes workplace violence. And one of those is verbal, but it's a sticky situation because it does have to escalate to physical as well. But when you read the plan, you'll see the 4 different components of that. And then once it is reported, which will be through Maxian, that's the mechanism we'll use to report. Once an incident is reported, it does bring the Workplace Violence Committee together to kind of assess if it's, you know, an HR issue, if it's a risk management issue, if it is a criminal issue. And so a committee will come together to decide how to respond to that.
Okay, any other questions? I can't see who, oh, Catherine, so Catherine.
Yes, so being that this is our last meeting, are you gonna come back to the next school year for another revision, or is this?
Well, we have to have it in place by July 1, but that doesn't mean that we can't make amendments to it. So if there are, you know, suggested amendments and it's agreed that they need to be amended, I can certainly come back to another meeting and speak on it if you guys have, you know, different things that you feel need to be addressed in the plan. It will definitely be amended once Cal OSHA gets their standards, only because there's going to be likely things that we'll need to amend in our plan to meet their standards. I'm hoping we're actually above and beyond what their standards are, but we won't know until they're released. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Okay, and we have our edition of PCC PM with Roberto Gomez.
Oh, can I get the projector, please? Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Robert Gomez. I am Senior Research and Planning Analyst here in the Office of Institutional Effectiveness. And today I'm going to talk to you about a survey we did recently called PCC PM, or depending on who you ask, nights, after dark, evenings. So that may have been why Dr. Lopez got confused a little earlier. So PCC PM is the name that Brock Klein, who's spearheading this project, called it. I like PCC nights or after dark, but it's up for negotiation. So introduction, so outreach, again, they showed interest in better supporting PCC's evening students. So our typical operating hours here are from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And PCC is a pretty lively place after in the evening, once most of us are gone, after I'm gone certainly. After most offices are gone, after everything's kind of closed down, I think we're around 6 o'clock, because when you walk out, you kind of see it's like a, you know, PCC the next generation almost. And as we were doing this, I found that 21% of our classes are evening, meaning that 4 p.m. or later. That's for this semester, spring 24. And also while we were doing this, we found that about 3,000 students, give or take, were identified as evening only, or about 12% of our population of students attend classes at night exclusively. And just for clarification for this does not include students who maybe take primarily evening classes, or who take an evening class or take half evening classes. This is students who take only evening classes, not even online classes, but specifically only evening classes. So the 3,000 population that we have here is really just those students. So there's even more who are here on campus during the evening, more than 3,000. But 3,000 are the ones who are evening only. So we developed a survey to get a better understanding of this population. I did have a whole other slides on this. I did present for College Council. However, in the interest of time, I went ahead and just got into sort of the open-ended questions that ask sort of the open-ended questions for more qualitative information. So one of the questions we had was, what support services or access to programs should PCC provide you and other evening-only students? As you can see, some of the things that we have are more food and dining options. Again, a lot of things closed by then. They wanted more options that were healthier, more places to actually, heat up their food and sit and eat. Extended library hours, especially on Fridays. Safety was another concern. More security patrolling places. They wanted more lighting at night. Also, women in particular reported feeling unsafe on campus at night. Extended hours in general. So for student hours, for bookstores, scantrons, that's a big thing too. A lot of students, they're concerned about scantrons. Music lab was specifically mentioned. Printers, other services, difficulty finding places to print, using UPass. And again, scantrons we mentioned a lot. Some of the quotes right here on the left-hand side, you can see here. More open snack areas, taking breaks closest to grab a quick snack. And we realized there aren't enough for hardly any open spaces. The library should be open later and on weekends as well, along with the staff or student center, so students can pick up necessities. We can have the bookstore open, financial aid window, and other county services open even once a month, like 7 p.m. Right? So something very specific. Then you just open extending hours just a little bit. So a lot of our students are coming after work. Next one was in regards to just support services outside the classroom. Again, extended hours with labs, that's for pantry, tutoring services, UPass. What we're finding is that the traditional 9 to 5 does not work for this population of students. For study, they want more locations to study. Another concern I came up to was that at nighttime, a lot of the buildings are locked. So if the student forgets something in their car and they leave the building to get their whatever they missed, they would be locked out of the building. And since there's not that many security people around, it's hard for them to get back to the building. So a lot of students kind of feel stuck in the classroom. Again, safety was a big concern. Food and dining options again. Work issues again. Work is priority over everything else. And then health and wellness issues were there too. Again, they let us see further extended hours in terms of lunch and pantry. All of them, I have to call out of work in order to make an appointment with the counselor. And just keeping things open past 5 or 6, right? So something very specific, just past 5 or 6 is all they're kind of really asking for. Almost out of time, so I'll move quick. And then we went ahead and we asked them a question about what were the things that in their life impacted them here at PCC. So obviously work is going to be the number one thing, right? Where they work a traditional 9 to 5, and that's really just incompatible with our operating hours here at PCC. Some of them were irregular hours. Sorry.
It's okay, we can see this. I made a motion to extend, I said Brian 10 first, 5 minutes, do we have a second? Tracy seconds, are there any objections to approve this by unanimous consent? Seeing none. We have another 5 minutes.
Yeah, so again, work, again, 9 to 5 is supposed to work with that population of students. A lot of our students work the irregular hours. Our students have family and home obligations that they have to attend to. They care for children, siblings, elderly parents, sick parents. They have K through 12 schedules that can vary from week to week, especially with minimum days. Multi-generational households, out survival. Some students have no space to study. And then studying was a thing too. Again, these students live in one of the quotes you see in that middle quote. I'm a single mother of 3 children, one of them being an 8-month-old baby. I'm at the moment living with my parents in a 1-bedroom home. And this is not rare. This is not the exception. This is actually quite a common thing that we see in our student population. Is that a lot of them live in these crowded places, and so a lot of them come to campus at nighttime. This is their time alone, the time they only have to study away from their family, away from all these other distractions. And then to come here and everything's kind of locked and closed, right? So that's kind of what the themes that are coming here. Time constraints again, they commute, they have other obligations. Being on campus is their only free time for study. And they don't really have even time to sit and eat, right? So again, some of these quotes are a little long, but they really capture sort of what a lot of our students are dealing with. Again, this is specifically our night population, but I imagine these kind of situations are pretty popular around all of our students. We thought I made some recommendations in regards to food options, hours, safety, and family resources. So one of those some of the recommendations that PCC could do right now in the short term, healthier options, more dining spaces, grab and go area, which kind of goes back to Candace's presentation, which is something we're all kind of figuring out. Extended hours for the bookstore, the library, the music labs, tutoring services, and then keeping buildings open, or at least understanding what buildings are probably the most active at night, so that security can stay around those specific buildings. Safety, visible security, lighting at night, and again, movement safety concerns were a big one. And then family resource, I know we recently had a new family resource center, so having that available at night for those specific students, especially because that portion of the population is one would really benefit from those. And then conclusion, so students in this population are in survival mode, and they really have to make difficult decisions about work, their family, and school, right? Which something's got to give, right? PCC, we now have a foundational understanding of this significant population, and we can go ahead and begin making small and those meaningful changes. And then further qualitative inquiry can go ahead and inform our outreach strategy, our retention strategy, delivery of student services, and delivery of academic services. Also, I sent Dr. Lopez a full copy of this presentation, so she can probably forward it to all of you. I also have, I only printed 3 copies of the full report, so if you wanted this up here, you guys can grab it on your own. Right there. Otherwise, that's all I have. Are there any questions? Yeah.
Daniel?
Oh, sorry.
I just want to express my concern about some of the comments that were left about the library, because I think that some students may be misinterpreting what library means. I think some students may think that we're the bookstore. That often happens, that students think that the library is the bookstore. And I have one example from your survey I wanted to highlight. There was an open-ended comment left that said, keep the library open and cafeteria until at least 7:30 p.m. so we can have access to them when on campus. And they said they received a logbook from the library and have EOPS transport voucher, and at the library I'm not able to exchange and pick up because the library closes at 5 p.m. when I work. I just want to make sure that we stay open from 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and we have for years, particularly back from early, like just coming back from the pandemic, we've been open that late. So I do feel some concern about some of the recommendations that are based on comments that may have misunderstood what the survey instrument was asking.
Well, these are their specific comments. We didn't ask them about hours. We didn't ask them specific questions. These are all they're all open-ended questions that they provided their information, and this is what they reported back to us. And so, yeah, we didn't ask specific questions about library hours or anything like that. This is them reporting back. They're open-ended.
I recognize that. My point, though, is that perhaps there was some explanation that should precede the questions that are being asked that elicit the open-ended questions. That kind of explains, like, what are these services? Because I think that this has distorted your survey data. Because I do see the library repeated a few times in the survey, but then some of the comments are alluding to things that are not accurate, like the library's hours. So it just makes me concerned when I hear extended hours when we're already open till 9 p.m. And that's already really late, and a safety concern also for those who are in charge of the library, or full-time workers who are there till 9 p.m. already.
Okay, before you answer that, hold on real quick. I need to extend this. Brian, I see you again, and is that a second? Or is that a question? That's a second. Okay. If there are no objections, we can approve this for final extension. Are there any objections? Thank you. Seeing none, we have an additional and final 5 minutes, and you may go ahead and go next, and then tell me to see you after that.
So, I mean, great information. I have a question because I teach a Saturday class. Is there any analysis of needs for Saturday students?
No, we did not do that. That's not something we have looked at yet. I honestly, I'm not too familiar with any kind of weekend classes. That's something I think overall in general, those research offices haven't looked at too much. So I really can't speak to anything about weekend classes. Sorry.
Tony?
2 things. I wonder regarding the Family Resource Center, especially if you mentioned a lot of these were open-ended questions.
Yes.
I think they actually mean the Child Development Center. They I would assume, because the Family Resource Center doesn't provide childcare. They would provide resources for parents.
That's.
So I would guess that one of the things that would be actually higher is the family care piece, which is the Child Development Center actually having support for their children as they're trying to either study or work. So, because I think Family Resource Center makes more sense. Like if I was a student, I would think of that rather than Child Development Center. I would think that's for child development students. So that's one point. The other is if there's further research in line with what Danielle was saying, like we too are open until 7. We serve students until 7 Monday through Thursday, but maybe we have to do a better job getting that news out because the appointments are booked. So they get booked until we get booked. So I think partly it's us knowing as a department that we need to inform them, but that when we do open-ended questions, perhaps students aren't aware. And I would guess there might be other folks on campus, but in these conversations, has budget come up?
Yeah, so that, in terms of staffing, I know I think, also for safety, I think, college council, there was issues about staffing for that. Yeah, there's a whole, I don't even know about, I'm just the messenger.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in terms of like a family resource center, Yeah, the reason I didn't put child development is like I figured that was never gonna happen. But family research, you could have someone there who can like serve as like a liaison kind of. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I was just like child development that would never happen. So I'm not even recommend that.
But that's what they need.
But that
I
is what
think
they
that's
need, yes,
actually what they
yes.
need to be able to study.
Yes, absolutely.
This. But so sorry, Messenger, I'm so sorry. If you go back to these bigger conversations, the budget is something that I am concerned about when we're discussing staffing. So if we're gonna extend our hours even more, will our budget be beefed up? Or, but no, I know, or will it stay the same and now we have to take away from the chunk of the data also? So I hope the campus leaders will increase our budgets rather than decrease to be able to serve even more across the board.
Okay, and Jose is up again.
Right, so, I know that you're kind of sharing, I guess, the results of the survey, but is this gonna lead to something, or is that it's gonna, you know, as what was mentioned before, are the budgets gonna change? Are we gonna hire more staff? Because I think everyone knows what the issues are. More weekend hours, more night hours, more everything. But it's just the staffing is what's hard, you know. I'm the coordinator for the MAP Center, and I've been trying different ways of how we can offer weekend tutoring for our students. But the tough part is the staffing. This weekend, right before finals, we're gonna open up the center. The faculty are gonna do that, because I know with staff it's kind of hard. But we're gonna be opening up the center for students this coming weekend for finals. But I kind of wish we would offer that even more. So I know we're gonna messenger, but is this gonna lead to something? Is there talk about, hey, now that we know what they need, what are we gonna do with them?
Yeah, so for me, like that's one of the second point, right? It's like foundation. I think like you said, we all know this to be true, and now we have like actual hard evidence to support it. But at College Council, when I first presented this, Beverly Police, VP of Student Services, she did have a few specific things they were looking at, but this was one of them. I remember Raquel talking about library, and again, budget was there as well. So there are things behind the scenes going on. I don't know the specifics, but I do know that again, Brock and I say Brock and Brenda are probably the two people to maybe reach out for this. Otherwise, yeah.
Okay, we are out of time for this. Yes, we're out of time for this item. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. And let's move on. To our old business, we have our ISLOs with Agnes Ventura and Elizabeth Yankee. This is potentially up for a vote.
Hi, everybody. I'm Agnes Ventura, and we presented the ISLs the last time, and we are just here simply if you have any more questions to answer them, and otherwise, if we're ready to put them.
Okay, yes, Russ.
I'd like to make a motion
To approve? Oh, I see multiple hands. I think I saw Jose's first. Okay, is that a second? Okay, is there any discussion on this item?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Before you
Wait,
guys
before
take
you
a-
begin, Tracy, I just want, no, go ahead.
One of the items I had a question last time, and I don't have the visual to help me say word for word what that was, but it was something regarding inclusivity and race and things like that. And I emailed you ladies to ask you the question to give me a little more background on that, because I expressed to the Senate that the United States of America is a very inclusive country by nature. You can see it around this room. You have people from all over the country, all over the nation, all over the world immigrate to the United States. My husband is an immigrant. just for an example, he is a native of Hungary. Again, I would need that visual example. It was like, there was like 10 of them, and I believe it was number 9. And I would like to ask the Senate, can we see those 10 so I can show you the one that I think we need to remove, because it's redundant. We don't have to make a law to be inclusive when we are in fact already inclusive. Americans, we are inclusive. We're welcoming and we're kind and we're a good nation. And I think it sends a very different message. So before we go to a vote, I would like for us to maybe hear those 10, was that number 9? I haven't seen it for 2 weeks.
Elizabeth is bringing it up right now. So
Can you speak in the microphone? I can't hear you.
I said Elizabeth will be bringing it up, so it's going to be shown right there. So
Thank
you can go ahead and read through them.
Okay, I'm sorry. I would also like
And
to.
Dr. Lopez would like to.
I actually told you to put your questions to me, which I did in your email. I did want to say that I needed to be clear to all of our senators that you are not just representing yourself, you're representing your constituency group. And Tracy, I want to make sure that you are speaking on behalf of adjunct faculty, because it sounds like a very personal opinion that there's no oppression in the United States. If this is, you can have your personal opinion, however, as a senator in the seat right now, you are representing adjunct faculty. If you have not gauged or surveyed the adjunct faculty, I'm not sure that this is appropriate to raise these questions.
We could actually have that for about everything, to see what your personal thing is behind.
I don't get to vote.
Or you, or Sheila, so I don't know why that comes up every time that I'm not representing adjunct faculty. There's a lot of people that are afraid to speak up in these meetings, in these forums. It's very hard.
Actually, the last vote that we had, there were several divisions that split their vote because they were representing their divisions, not just themselves.
Right.
All I'm saying is there is I don't know that you gauged the adjunct faculty to say that there's no oppression, that the United States is so inclusive.
Yes, but I think people forget that I was the chair of the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee for 2 years. So I am in touch with adjunct faculty on this campus. Let's not forget that. I'm very active and I'm very connected to other adjuncts on this campus. So when I speak for myself or when I speak for this, it's not just myself, and I'd like to reiterate that everyone is not as vocal as I am about things like that. I think it's like, okay, well, we'll just go along because that's what the group thinks. That's what maybe everybody, so I'm not going to say anything. So yes, I've taken that into consideration.
But have you asked adjunct faculty about this in particular?
Do I need to report to you like that?
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking for an answer. You have. Okay. With that being the case, we have a motion on the floor, and we can either continue this discussion or we can vote. I serve at the pleasure of the Senate. What would you like to do? Okay, let's do that. Are you ready, Sheila, to take the vote?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Oh, so we're doing a roll call.
Let's do a roll call.
Okay. Armia Walker.
What's the parameters? What am I voting? A yes or a yay is to approve the SLOs, the ISLOs that were presented to us. A no or a nay is to not.
Yes. Okay. I am also a yes. Lindsay?
Yes.
Tracy?
No.
Catherine?
I want to say yes, but my department didn't give feedback, so I'm kind of torn here. So I will abstain.
That's not here. Kurt?
Yes.
Carol? Lee?
Yes, I actually consulted my department.
Great. Mariah?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Pauline?
Yes.
Condon's not here. Carol Curtis?
Yes.
Brian Gonzalez?
Yes.
Tim?
Yay.
Amy's not here today.
I am.
Oh, I'm sorry, Amy, I
Yes,
didn't see you. You were
absolutely,
behind
yes,
the set. Amy? Yes, thank you. Terry? Terry Stoddard? Are you here or is Terrence here? Sorry, Terrence. Yes, okay, thank you, Terrence. Danielle? Yes. Margie? Yes. Jose? Michelle? Hi. Are you voting yes? Yes. Thank you. Russ?
Yes.
Jackie? Yes. Sonia? Yes. And Michael, are you voting or you're? Liliana?
I did not have enough time to survey my faculty, so I will abstain.
Okay, thank you. Dawn's not here. So from social sciences, we have Jennifer. Okay, so Jennifer and Amy are abstaining. Chris?
Yes.
Okay, did I miss anyone who was here as a voting member of Senate? Okay, great. So let me just tally really quickly. Okay, we have 23 yeses, 4 abstentions, and 1 no. So the ayes have it.
Congratulations, this motion is approved. Thank you. Okay, next we will go on to academic rank. Is Susan, is Dr. Natalie here?
Yes, she is.
Oh.
I think Nadia is going to provide a list of the approved faculty members who had requested rank change. So I'm Susan Bauer. I'm currently the chair of the Academic Senate Rank Committee. I'm here. I know you guys have had a long afternoon. I'm here really for transparency. So I've been on the committee for several years, and when Saeed retired, he asked me to take over. We've got the names of the folks who we have approved. We have never had so many requests. 50 people request in the past, usually about 20, and we're really making an effort to make sure that our colleagues understand what the requirements are. We've had a lot of feedback from individual faculty members from across the campus stating that they're concerned about the guidelines we've put forward, and as a committee, we are an academic senate committee. We are following the guidelines you have provided us. So if there's anybody here who wants to make changes, I just wanted to reach out to you to please reach out to me. We're not going to be meeting as a committee over the summer because our colleagues are off contract, but we will be starting very, very soon in the fall. So if there are aspects that you are not happy with, or if there are aspects that you are happy with, I want to reach out to you just to let you know you can contact me or any of the 6 individuals who are on the committee. I don't think the names are listed up here. I did also want to bring up the fact that Nadia has done a great deal of work for us, and each of these applications that comes in represents lots of work for her because there are a lot of questions that come up. She's got to then process everything. The committee, there are 6 of us that have met for hours, and we've spent a lot of time going through each of the applications to check each of the requirements that the Academic Senate has put forward. One of the things that I did want to bring up is we are trying to improve support. So we had office hours this semester. If individuals have questions about, if they don't understand one of the requirements, we want to make sure as a committee we're available. Librarians, counselors are individuals who have not traditionally applied for these changes, and we've had quite a few individuals who had. I also wanted to bring up appoint non-credit adjunct colleagues of ours have not been eligible for this in the past. That is not a committee decision. It's more complicated than that, and it involves not just, there are requirements in terms of your category and step, and they're on a different pay scale. What's the term? Schedule, that's the word. So on a different schedule, and if that changes, that it should be We're open to discussion, to changing things, but again, it's not up to the committee. That discussion needs to happen here, it needs to be approved, and then the committee follows the guidelines that the academic senate approves. So this is the list of the 50 individuals who had requested change. The individuals who were not approved were in the, they were not eligible for one reason or another. I've been told in the past that individuals were not told why they were not eligible, so I get to write a letter to each of those individuals to explain, you have to wait for another semester, you have to, whatever it happens to be, it's different for each individual, but hopefully that will provide them some guideline for the future. So I'll leave it there for questions if anybody has any. Otherwise, the next step is to consider approving this so that it can be distributed campus-wide.
Okay, are there
Thank
any
you,
questions
Nadia.
for Dr. Bauer? Okay, then I'm going to entertain a motion. Sonia? Motion to approve, thank you. Is there a second? Okay, good, sorry, hand first. Okay, if there, well, all those in favor of approving this rank list, please signify by saying yes. Yes. All those opposed say no. Any abstentions? Okay. Thank you for your work, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you very
much. Thank you. Congratulations to those who got it right. That's awesome. Okay, and now we have new business, AP 5010 admissions, and this is our first read, and it will be presented by Dr. Schubert.
Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier in my secretary's report, we have a working group for the Student Success Committee that uses our equity-minded guiding questions for policy review to revise all of our student-facing policies. So most recently, our group took on AP 5010 admissions, and we made some changes that we're bringing to you today. Most significant was language around students having the qualifications or standards, and so being kind of conditionally admitted to the college until they had completed a number of units or until they had proven that they had met the standards. This is not something that we do. We are a universal access college, and with AB 705, which was implemented in 2019, we removed placement tests for English and math. Those were no longer legal as a result of that assembly bill. And so we just took out a lot of the outdated language around standards. And if there were any questions, yes, Sonia.
Just for number 3, the second paragraph,
Yes.
I don't understand it.
Okay.
Could you guys just like rework that or maybe just explain?
Okay.
Kind of read, I don't understand what's in it.
So here we were really wanting to, if students were coming to us and they had not completed their high school diploma, we wanted to put language in the policy that let students know that they could enter our high school diplomacy program at the Foothill campus and achieve that. So it was just kind of almost like advertising or messaging that opportunity to students. Students do not have to have a high school diploma in order to start college level work, but a lot of students may want to get to that diploma if they have not previously. Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, this is our first read, so thank you very much, Dr. Rose.
Okay.
And if you have additional questions, comments, or additions, corrections that you would like, please email Dr. Rose. Okay. So we're on to item I, and I'm going to ask if someone can make a motion to approve all of these as a block. They're all committee appointments. We could go through each of them, but it might be easier. I saw your hand first, Danielle. Is that to approve as a block? Okay, do I have a second? Oh, I saw Margie's hand first. Oh. Okay, if there are no, well, let's see. All those in favor of approving these faculty members for these appointments, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Seeing none, they are all appointed. Yay. Okay, and now we will go on to public comment on non-agenda items. Do we have any public comment, Dr. Rose?
We have one from Sean Lee.
Okay, and that will need to be, excuse me, sir, that needs to go back there. Sir, you need to do your public comment from back there.
First of all, I think I heard about the workplace violence. I mean, something that is something I support that whatever agenda, whatever motion that was right there. So when the student or member of the public coming to inform you their gender pronoun, their preferred name, and they still be addressed as a sir, as a mister, well, I actually never experienced such disgusting workplace violence in this kind, and then other than this board. So I would like to ask Gina Lopez to stop your gender pronoun violence, and then gender identity violence, and then as a return, if you have been discriminated against my gender pronoun for the past more than 1.5 years, so I do not believe I have to continue to tolerate your gender pronoun violence to begin with. Second, I believe Linda Ruiz talking about equity, anti-Semitic, and pro-Palestinian. Well, that is a really popular issue across all college, university in the United States. And then, which is I have a different view. And I believe actually as a Jewish Israeli, they have every single right to defend themselves. And then you have every single right to wear your shirt. Also, I also respect that also, because that is the beauty of this country. You have the freedom to wear whatever you want. But at the same time, I am concerned as the Jewish student safety at PCC. I am concerned that they do not feel safe in the class, outside the class, or simply walking past by you. Hearing your very violent anti-Semitic languages, I do not feel safe and confident regarding any sort of anti-Semitic violence at PCC. When we were talking about those kind of violence messages, when you make certain comments about the Israel-Palestinian war, it reminds me of my history class. When Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, and the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs to Japan, that killed hundreds of thousands of people. So if you are talking about taking a side in an active international war, I would like to refer you to look back of your own history first. When we are talking about online education, and then I heard a lot of amazing work we are doing about online education, I totally support that. Not only I support online education, I believe 100% of the classes should be offered online. Because I am a terrible, mediocre student, but all of a sudden during the pandemic semester, I become a straight A student thanks to those online education.
Please put that mic. Thank you. Okay. So now I'm going to, any proposed agenda items? That will be for next year. This is our last meeting of the semester. Okay, go ahead.
Senate, I would like to have one discussion item be to review what are the criteria for adjunct faculty to have the rank change to assistant adjunct professor. I reached out a little bit to Susan and she said, bring it to the group. I happen to also work at the Los Angeles Community College District. And in 2022, I was able to apply and achieve that rank. So when I compared and contrast with the qualifications or what you had to do to fill out theirs to ours is really, really stringent. I worked here, speaking for myself, for 26 years, and I've never been able to attain that because the requirements are very stringent. So I suggested, could we maybe adopt the same model
that the Los Angeles Community College District does for their adjuncts and make those changes so that more adjuncts can actually receive that. So I'm happy to bring that next year to you for you to look at, and then you can compare and contrast, and then we can discuss that and then hopefully vote on it. And I think that would be a really positive step and be supportive for adjunct faculty here at PCC. Thank you for listening.
Any other future agenda items? Yes, Catherine.
It's along the lines of the ranking advancement. If we do discuss that, like Susan was saying, in non-credit, we don't even have that option for adjunct faculty, so I would also like to encourage that to be added. Because it is, again, compared to other schools, and other community colleges, it's very, very different. So we'd like to be also part of that.
Okay, any other future agenda items? Again, this is for next year. Okay, have you made a note of that? Yes. Any announcements? I have an announcement. Okay, I saw Danielle's hand first.
No, all of the announcements first.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to share that, again, the library will be giving out free Scamtrons, free blue books from now until the end of finals. So if you have students that need those, we are open Monday through Thursday till 9 p.m. If anyone needs one while the bookstore's closed, we've got them. We will also have games, activities, free coffee and tea, lemonade, Monday and Tuesday mornings for students. So just a quick little drink break for everybody. And please remind your students that they need help with citations, research, even if it's last minute, send them to the reference desk. We are waiting for their questions.
Yay, Dean Duran?
Quick announcement.
It's on.
It's on? One last announcement. On behalf of the Student Services, we'd like to recognize and thank again the board. We have some flowers to demonstrate our appreciation. Again, to all the members, especially our board. Thank you so much for all that you do. I know we also have Nikki and Sheila here, like adopted student services now, that they do it for us. Thank you all.
That's my famous club. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
We too, are there any other announcements? Okay, we would like to extend our formal gratitude and thanks to our wonderful, not including me, but the board, to our Academic Senate Executive Board. We have plaques for each of these wonderful ladies who has served so long in the Senate, each of you in your own capacities, in many different capacities. And so we each have, it's this beautiful award that has our Liberation Through Education logo at the top. And it says, presented to Dr. Sheila Rose, Dr. Armia Walker, and Dr. Gina Lopez, in appreciation for your years of service to the Pasadena City College Academic Senate.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully I'll get the last word. Yes, of course. Thank you. My last word is that I am very, when I first came to the Senate, I didn't know much about the Senate. But I learned to not just embrace the Senate, but I learned to love the work that we do as faculty. I learned to love faculty. I've learned a lot, good and bad, but it has been a wonderful experience being part of PCC's faculty. We are so powerful, and there's so much that we can do for our students, and you all you're on the front lines of great change and good things. And I want to thank you for letting me be a part of that. I mean, so many of you, just by smiling, just by coming and pat me on the shoulder during hard meetings, it's been so valuable and so meaningful. And I feel like I made a whole bunch of new friends because I see you all in different spaces, and I'm like, hey Margie, hey Russ, hey Jose, or whatever, right? people that I may not have met before, but this has been a very rich and valuable experience, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. You know it's been hard, but you all have made it. I've always told all leadership, whoever, because I don't know how you do it. I don't know how to do it either. I know there's God, but also the Senate. I love the Senate board. You all have made this a very rich experience for me. So thank you all very, very much. Now, Russ, can you do us the honor?
Motion to adjourn.
Time.